Well, hey folks, and welcome to Art Tips with John, the show that not only teaches you how to build your artistic talent, but also how to build your art business. In today's show, we are going to be talking about the very vital things that you need to do to give your artwork the best chance of selling when doing exhibitions or when putting your work into galleries. So welcome to today's show. Well, hi folks, and welcome to today's show. Hoping you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today, as I mentioned, we are talking about exhibitions, and we're talking about putting your paintings in galleries or your artwork in galleries. Now, Katie and I recently did a gallery exhibition for Seascape, which is a homeless charity here in South Asia. And I've done a few exhibitions in the past and kind of thought, you know, I would love to go to this one. You know, I've worked with the person before, I know what they're like, so I know it tends to be knowing, you know, their style and how they like to set things up. But I learned some really valuable lessons about this exhibition on how we can change our artwork and hopefully how you will consider the presentation of your artwork when you're actually doing this. So I've kind of got four things that's rattling through my brain at the moment. The first one is varnishing your work. If you saw a couple of weeks ago, you saw me spraying Jerry the Panda, which was a varnished, I kept calling it matting spray. It's actually a varnish spray that we sprayed it all over the canvas, and basically it dries, it's solid, it looks great, it gives a beautiful shine, and it brings the colours out immensely. If you're exhibiting, you really want to spray your work because, again, it gives that beautiful, you know, finish to it. It looks more traditional. It protects the painting as well, and it's basically a protection from dust. It's from dirt, from light, and everything. As you saw a couple of weeks ago, you know, some of the rules that we have are making sure that you check for dirt, check for debris on the canvas before spraying it, making sure it's good and clean, spraying the canvas in a well-ventilated area, and make sure you wear a mask. Okay, so those are some of the things, obviously, to do with varnishing your work, which is really important. It makes it stand out when you're in an exhibition. Okay, the last thing you want is for your artwork to get lost. Okay, now one of the ones that I really was caught out by for this exhibition is knowing where the exhibitors are going to place your artwork. Now that can be really difficult because if you've got 40, 50 or 100 artists that are all exhibiting at the same thing, people tend to sort of group their artwork together. So you may have seascapes on one side, you may have clockwork or clock art on another side, you may have, you know, elephants on another side and animals, and your work will not always be together. Okay, as I said, you know, one side of the room you could be with animals, the other side of the room you could be with seascapes, the other side of the room you could be with, I don't know, sculptures, okay? Try and get to know the people that are exhibiting, okay? Work with them a little bit, get in touch with them, and just see if there is a place that you can actually have preference. They may turn around and say, well, no, particularly if you're just a new artist that are starting out or a lesser known artist. We were up against, you know, people like Joan Lawson and Peter Hausen. I think Helen Turner was involved with this one as well. So because we're more internationally known on a smaller basis and online, you know, we were kind of pushed to the side. Okay, and I'll be honest about that. That was, you know, it's one of those things. We were kind of positioned against things that kind of didn't make sense. So that's something to consider. The third thing that I want you to consider, so we've got varnishing your work, we have try and get to know the people that you're working with, but definitely this one is a must, framing your artwork. Now, framing your artwork is a must. I have put it off for so many years because, again, yes, it is really expensive, I'm not going to lie, but the thing that my dear lady wife had said to me is, if you want more people to spend more on your artwork, you've got to invest more into it. Okay, so better quality canvas, making sure it's varnished, making sure that it's framed. Okay, now you can pick up cheap frames, but again, if people are getting a cheap product, that's basically where it's going to be, and by cheap, I'm talking 150 to 500 pounds. For artwork, that is not expensive. Okay, now I know a lot of people are a bit like, oh my goodness, you know, that's really expensive. How could you ask us to pay that? Trust me, for artwork, that isn't expensive. So folks, if you are going into an exhibition, I would definitely encourage you to frame your artwork. Okay, now really think carefully about what kind of frames you're going to use, how it's going to look, because it draws people in. It's the full package. It's a finished product. Some of the frames, I'm not going to lie to you now, may cost you in excess of 250 upwards. And that could be dollars, it could be pounds, it depends where you are, it depends on the size of your painting as well. But I would definitely encourage it, because that's one thing that I noticed with this exhibition. The majority were framed. They were framed with complementary colours, which basically, you know, colours of frames that complement the painting. So for example, if I've got a darker painting, I'm not going to frame it in a white frame. If I've got, you know, Paradise Lost, which you can check out at johnmorrisartfromtheheart.com, and in our gallery section, I'm not going to frame it in, you know, a particularly dark frame, because again, it can get lost and it doesn't complement. So that's something you need to think about. But absolutely, framing and varnishing are a must for exhibitions, because if you don't, you know, you are already setting yourself up for your work not to sell. I'll be honest, I've done this, you know, for a long time. I've done exhibitions myself for a long time, and that is certainly one of the areas, if you want to be taken seriously, you've got to put this stuff in. Okay, the final point that I'm going to make today is use bright and deep colours. At the exhibition on Friday night, we were looking at the people, just looking around, and kind of doing our own research. And the people that were most drawn to certain kinds of paintings were the ones that, how can I put this? You look at them and you know instantly they're from a wealthy background. Okay, they are more educated. They are they've been to art school, they've been to art college, they've been to university, and they've probably got masters and degrees in art. They're very learned people. Okay, now these people in particular, which is more of my target audience, were attracted to really bright and deep, vibrant paintings. Okay, there was some that were there that were attracted to the nude paintings, and again, you could tell those kind of people, and there were some that came in more hippie-ish that were attracted to more dark and the, you know, Robert Burns kind of stories and things that were on canvas of Meg the Horse and all sorts of things. But these are really things that as you look around a room in an exhibition, you can kind of place and you can kind of see who's who, what's what, and what they're up to. So that's something I would definitely encourage you to think about. Think really seriously about the colours that you are using, because that has the potential to really push people into the artwork or actually draw them away from it. Some of the paintings that we've had, and we are actually a company that's known for deep colours, but when they're putting up an exhibition that was a really, I would say in a really big office, in a really big room, they can get lost. And it depends how they're lit as well, which is why I was talking about positioning and how canvases are positioned. I do have one final point that I want to make, and we're just going to roll into that. Okay, well, the final point I want to make today, guys, is this. Think about the size of canvas that you're going to use. I made the mistake a little bit of using canvases that were 20 by 20 inches, 16 by 20 inches, some that were framed, and one that was bigger. I think it was 32 by 40 inch canvas. In a big room like that we had on Friday night, they all looked lost. Okay, I was seeing some canvases there that were a couple of foot, you know, high and a couple of foot across. I know that's not a couple of foot, but obviously we're working with a smaller lens right now because it's zoomed in right in my face, so I can hardly go any bigger. But that was something that I got to consider, and it was, okay, for the really, really, depending on the type of exhibition that you go for this one that we're talking about here, I would recommend the really big canvases. So like what you saw earlier on with Paradise Lost and Before the Stars, it's something that I really, really believe draws people in. With that, you could potentially get away with not framing it. However, I would still recommend, you know, spending that money, making that investment, and framing the paintings. So there you have it, folks. I hope that's been of help to you. So you got your 4 things of varnishing your work, get in touch with the people that are actually doing the exhibition, see where they're presenting your artwork, see if you can go along before. You've got obviously framing your work, and think about the size of work that you are entering for this exhibition. If it's a small local coffee shop, you're probably not going to want to put out really humongous paintings. But ask them, ask the people that are doing the exhibition, you know, what kind of size do you think would be good for this exhibition? And they will be able to tell you, all being well, really, really good advice. So we learned a lot of things through this exhibition, which I'm able to pass on to you. And these are words of wisdom, please treasure them. And of course, folks, let me know in the comments section below what you thought about this video. Have you got your own thoughts and feedback in terms of your experience with exhibition? I would love to hear. And please, of course, get in touch with us at johnmorris@artfromtheheart.com. There's still a few spaces if you are watching this and you're interested in commissioned artwork of pets, portraits, landscapes, seascapes, you name it. Of course, the mini prints as well. Until next time, guys, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for helping us build our audience each and every week. I really appreciate it. You're doing awesomely. I love you guys. I love the feedback you've been giving, and I love your support of the show. Until next time, I've been your host, John Morris. This has been Art Tips with John. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you next Tuesday.